Beginning the morning mass at St. Maurice Church in Forest Hills, Father Tom Smith sings the opening hymn.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Father Tom is retired now. He's 90, but fills in when needed at local parishes. He's been singing and celebrating the sacraments for more than 6 decades.
In the unity of the Holy Spirit. I love the priesthood, I love the church. I can say I've never had a bad day in the priesthood.
But the altar is not the only place where he has served people. He's always felt right at home on stage, too. Father Tom is also known as the singing and dancing Pittsburgh priest. To understand his journey, you have to go back to the 1930s. Tom learned how to dance as a 5th grader in Pitcairn during the Depression. Money was scarce, but a kind dance instructor helped out.
The 10th lesson, I ran out of money, and so did my parents. And they didn't have the 25 cents to give me to take my lessons. So I snuck into the hall and got behind the big doors that had a big crack in them, and I watched. Then I'd go home and practice it. And her mother caught me one day, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I can't come to class, I don't have any money." She grabbed me, put me in the class, and says, "You come here, you got talent, we're gonna train you. You know not to pay."
And that started Tom on the road to Broadway. In 1941, just days after graduating high school, Tom hit the Big Apple. He was only 17.
We get off the train, and we're walking up Broadway. We pass the Winter Garden Theater, and there's a big sign there, a huge sign above the marquee. Ziegfeld Follies coming in April. And I said, "I'm going to be in that show." They said, "No, wait a minute." They said, "You're crazy. Be calm, take it easy. This is your first day in New York and you're getting too excited." Well, in 3 weeks I was in the show.
The Ziegfeld Follies is big beyond all comparison. Spectacular beyond your most fantastic dreams.
It was one of the biggest shows with one of the biggest headliners, Milton Berle.
Milton and I did not get along. Backstage, he was a lot of dirty jokes, because he wanted to make people laugh backstage before he went on. And I would never laugh at them. So he singled me out to try to make me laugh. And I never laughed because I didn't think they were funny.
Young Tom stayed true to his values, surviving in an industry that doesn't always value good morals. And survive he did, working with legendary Broadway producers Robert Altman and John Murray Anderson. Tom was being groomed for feature roles, rubbing elbows with Judy Garland and other big stars. But despite his blossoming career, Tom felt an emptiness.
It was dog eat dog. When the show was ended, you had nobody. Everybody went their separate ways, And there was not this Broadway family that they talk about the community of live theater in New York. It wasn't so when I was there.
He stayed in touch with priests he had met during high school retreats at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, and they offered advice.
A lot of the priests wrote me. They encouraged me to stay in show business. The very encouragement made me like them. And I received more community from the monks at St. Vincent than I did in New York.
And that sense of community called him home. After 2.5 years, Tom Smith gave his farewell regards to Broadway, leaving the city that never sleeps for the quiet life in Latrobe at the Benedictine Seminary. Father Tom was ordained in 1951, never thinking he would grace the stage again. In 1958, then Pittsburgh Bishop John Wright called Father Tom into his office with an idea for a new ministry.
He heard about my experience and he says, "You got to do that for the Lord." I never thought it would happen. I had to go in the attic, my mother's home, and get out all my music and tap shoes and started a whole new expression.
Father Tom still had to run his local parish, but he also started producing some of the most popular variety shows in the region, raising millions of dollars for Catholic schools and many charities.
Putting down my top hat. and mussing up my white tie and dancing in my tails.
I still get letters from a lot of these kids.
Father Tom shared memories of his many shows and clippings from the Pittsburgh Press and Post-Gazette.
I was in the papers almost every week.
You got great reviews.
Oh yeah, good reviews. Some of them were a little nasty, but I deserved it.
I'm spreading the good news to singing and dancing. That's what the gospel's all about.
He recalled one review published by renowned Pittsburgh theater critic George Anderson.
Yes.
His voice is very thin. He says his dancing is good, but it's not great dancing. He says, but he's a hell of a performer.
At the height of his popularity, Father Tom was even reunited with his old colleague Milton Berle.
And he came to the Holiday House in Monroeville. So I went backstage to see him after the performance, and he opened the door of his dressing room, and I said, "This is the faultless Mr. Jones. No private rooms or undertones." And he started to sing it right with me. And so we sang the whole opening. Then he said, "Tommy, I remember you." And he picked up my tab that night.
The singing, dancing priest from Pittsburgh was an entertainment novelty,
My name is Father Tom Smith.
and national TV shows loved him.
Number 3, who is the Bishop of Hippo?
Hippo.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Peggy, I don't know that place.
Okay.
The votes are all in. Will the real Father Tom Smith please stand up, sir? Father Tom!
He stumped the panel on To Tell the Truth. Father Tom not only won $500, he got to perform his hit song, Say Yes to Life, before a national audience.
Let's celebrate life by saying yes to life. Say yes to the simple things. Let's celebrate life by saying yes to life. Life's a gas, it's a ring-a-ding-ding. Spreading the good news through singing and dancing. That's what the gospel's all about. When you hear the good news of joy and love, you wanna sing and shout. Let's celebrate. Yes.
Father, all I can say is until about 2 minutes ago, I was an Episcopalian.
Why do you think I do this?
You're very effective.
He was booked on The Today Show, Real People, Phil Donahue, Mike Douglas, and felt he was reaching those who didn't normally attend church, giving viewers a positive dose of the gospel.
It's not my talent, it's the message. People are hungry for a message. And I never did a show without a message. Every song, every dance fit into a pattern of love, the great power of the presence of God in everybody, and how everybody is a revelation of God's love.
He says not everyone liked the message.
What was it like going on David Letterman's show?
David Letterman didn't like me. During a commercial, he said, "That'll be enough for this tonight." So I left. He wouldn't even talk to me.
But another famous entertainer did want to talk.
This is a jacket of the famous Liberace.
Celebrities looking for spiritual guidance was a trend at the time. Liberace asked Father Tom to be his personal chaplain. Father Tom politely declined, but ended up with this gift.
What was it like? You're working at the rectory. This comes in the mail as a gift from Liberace.
Yeah, well, I showed it to people. They didn't believe me. But it's true. They got a signature in there. Ray Arnett could prove it. I think he's still alive. And I wouldn't lie about this.
Ain't gonna tell you the Lord, he loves you best, and he's gonna prove it when you...
Once again, he passed on the national spotlight, instead performing in local theaters, nightclubs, church basements, even synagogues.
Catholics will never be caught burned up in a fire, because after every Mass we have a fire drill. Our church is empty like that.
A legendary Pittsburgh musician helped to produce his shows.
Don. Hi, Fred. How are you?
And Don Brockett, who helped me put the act together, he said, "You know, Smitty, I've been working for 20-some years and trying to get an audience." He says, "I never have packed houses." He said, "How do you do it?" I said, "It's a message."
Give my regard to Broadway.
Father Tom would broaden the message and his cast, recruiting fellow priests John Casella, Sam Esposito, and Pat Jones to form the Four Fathers. Training them wasn't easy.
Once I tried to give them a soft shoe number, just a rudiment, a very, very simple thing, and they could not get it. It took a year to catch on that step.
At 70, Father Tom retired from the Pittsburgh Diocese. He moved to Florida, where he produced more shows for parishes and other groups, raising money for children and the poor, always remembering a conversation he once had at the Vatican with Pope John the 23rd.
He held my hand and he just says, live for the people, populi, live for the people. And that was it. So I wrote a song called, I'm going to live for people from now on.
Father Tom is now officially retired, back in his home diocese, helping local pastors by celebrating Mass. And he's even thinking about yet another new ministry.
I'm going to go around to nursing homes. And because old people are neglected spiritually, we should increase the mission to older people and to bring happiness into their life.
And like all show people, Father Tom is happy to live out the role of a lifetime.
Because that's what eternity is. It's a leap into happiness.